Hi, thanks for stopping by. I'm Jerrel, the developer of the Silver Falls games. So, I hope you're all looking forward to the upcoming Wii U title, White Inside Its Umbra, which will launch exclusively on the Wii U on February 16th. I'm very much looking forward to that. And if you haven't heard of the Silver Falls games yet, there's a few to check out. There's even some free games that you can try, and even a novel that you can read for free from the Silver Falls game website. So, if you are interested in looking at the games that we have coming to the Wii U soon, you can feel free to give the series a vibe check and see if that's something you'd enjoy. So, I have a pretty serious topic to discuss with you guys today, and that is the state of Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers on the 3DS. This is set to be the final 3DS game to launch, and it is actually two games in one. It is Silver Falls Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers and Silver Falls Ruby River. I've worked extremely hard and pushed myself much harder, much farther as a developer than I ever thought I would ever be capable of doing. And I did let everyone know ahead of time when I submitted this game that at the time of submitting this game to Nintendo, if I made any mistakes at all, if there was anything wrong with the game, there would not be time to revise the game, to fix it, and then send it back to Nintendo. So the launch build that I sent to Nintendo, it absolutely had to work. It had to be perfect. Well, unfortunately, the build that I sent to Nintendo was rejected. As some of you are familiar with my adventures developing on the 3DS over the past few years, you might be aware that the development environment that I use is quite unstable. I've learned more about Unity 3DS over the past year as I worked on these titles, and one of the things that I've learned is that when I ask Unity to produce the build of my game, to say, Unity, I've done all the work, produce the ROMs so I can have the ROM file of my game, it turns out there's actually a very small chance that Unity will produce a build that isn't corrupt. The vast majority of the time when I ask Unity to build a ROM, it's actually corrupt. It randomly changes things that are totally unexpected, that I have absolutely no control over, and there's a very high likelihood that the ROM which Unity builds just constantly leaks memory for no reason, and there's nothing you can do about it. This is something that took me years to figure out through an immense amount of trial and error, and unfortunately it was something that I was still tangling with as I was submitting the launch day version of Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers to Nintendo. So at that point I had worked a marathon 36 hours. I think I got about 2 or 3 hours of sleep in the middle of that, and that was 36 hours of just repeatedly building a ROM in Unity and then testing that. And I had to test on multiple consoles because Unity will produce ROMs that behave differently across different hardware revisions. So it's extremely time consuming, it's very challenging, and to stay that focused for such a long amount of time, it is quite difficult. And so I wanted to face that challenge head on, and I believed that I finally got Unity to produce a non-corrupt ROM. So after 36 hours of work, I was able to produce a ROM, tested that for hours and hours and hours. It was stable. I believed that I had tested every single feature that needed to be testing, but it turns out Unity had randomly introduced a couple glitches in some places that caused the game to be rejected. So the launch day ROM unfortunately had issues that caused it to be rejected. So what does this mean? That means that there's a very strong likelihood that Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers won't be able to launch on the 3DS. So for everyone that was really looking forward to that, the last thing that I wanted to do was disappoint all of you. Just like you, I'm very passionate about the 3DS console. It's one of my favorite consoles, may even be my favorite console. And I just wanted to produce something special and help the 3DS system go out with a real bang. And it's difficult facing these sort of realities head on, but that's life, and life can be disappointing and difficult sometimes. But I still hope that maybe there's something we can do. So at this point, there's only a low chance that it can launch because of what happened, because the game unfortunately had some glitches. The glitches are largely avoidable. You can avoid them, but it still wasn't up to snuff in terms of what the game needs to be in terms of being able to launch. So we're currently working through it with Nintendo, and we're seeing if there's anything we can do. Over the past week, again, I spent another 36 hours. I actually only got 3 hours of sleep in that time period, and I was just furiously producing new builds with Unity and testing it across various hardware revisions. And after about 36 hours, I was able to get a build again of Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers that was stable, and the glitches that were in the previous build that I sent to Nintendo, they're gone. I've done significant amount of testing to make sure that Unity hasn't introduced anything really wild and random, but the difficulty is the support for 3DS on the eShop is ending very soon, and there's going to be very little time to get the game approved, so I don't want to get people's hopes up. What I do want to do is just thank all of you for your incredible support. I want to thank you for your understanding, and I want you to understand this all comes down to me. Again, Nintendo has been incredibly supportive. They've been amazing, and they've really shown that they do want us to really enjoy these consoles, and they you know, the people there, they don't want us to feel like they're taking something away from us, but as a business, you do have to move forward, and this is an opportunity they've given us to enjoy and appreciate these consoles with one last hurrah, one last big round of fireworks. So I hope you are looking forward to the Wii U games, and if anything develops on the situation with Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers, I'll make a video and update and let you know. But for the time being, I don't want to get your hopes up, but it is looking, there's probably quite a small chance that we'll be able to bring this to the 3DS eShop in time. But I want to thank you for understanding, and please stay tuned. If there's any developments, I'll let you know as soon as I know. So take care of yourselves, thank you, and we'll see you soon in Silver Falls.